Hello everyone and welcome back. So let's start with the request library in Python. So there are 6 steps that we need for running the requests library on our system. So the very first step that we did is like these I think 5 steps we have already completed earlier in our previous lectures. If you are not seeing the previous lectures, please go through that. So the first thing is like we downloaded and installed the Python on our system. Then we did some setting of the system environment variables both for the Python version folder as well as the scripts folder inside that. And then third step we did is like we downloaded and installed VS Code as we needed, as like some editor was required. So like we chose our editor as VS Code, and we downloaded some extensions for Python and then the code runner from here, like extensions like we installed this Python and then code runner, and you can install this Cucumber also, but we will discuss this later on in our upcoming lectures. And then we did set the path for the interpreter is like we have installed and downloaded Python in our system, so we want VS Code to know that particular location. So the step was like we selected Control Shift P, which opened the palette for us. Okay, I can show you. And then we wrote this over here like Python select interpreter. Okay, and then we selected that path over here, like the latest Python build which is available with us. We selected that so that our VS Code is aware like from where it has to run and install the Python thing. Okay, so then the sixth step which we need to follow is we need to install this request library over here. Okay, so for doing that, the step, okay, let me show you one thing. If you go on Google and write requests Python, this link will open. Let's open this link. So this is their original site. So in order to install requests library, we need to write this step pip install requests, and you can write the version if you want to download a particular version along with that, right? Okay, what is happening? Let me open a new terminal, delete this one, view. Okay, let it load. Okay, pip install, then we need requests library. Okay, or if we want a particular version, we can write pip install request is equal to the version, but we want to download the latest available version, so we will only go with this one and press enter. So for me it's already downloaded. For you it will show some progress and then it will be installed. Successful message will be displayed over here. Okay, once that is done, you can go to Project Explorer and select some new project like new folder and new files. So I have already this folder open, so let me create one new file. I can write that as request practice dot py Python file. So this is open, and now if I want to import any particular library, I just need to write import requests. So it will automatically fetch that particular library files, and it will compile and run those for me. And the next step is like, see, now we have the library, all the setup is ready. So this request library setup is done. So now we will be hitting those methods that I showed you in earlier methods. But before that, we need one API, right, where we can practice. So I have selected 2 APIs, like which are free. Like these are used by the developers for the practice, right? The first site is jsonplaceholder.typeicode.com, and the second one is http://bin.org. These are the free APIs where you can practice. Other than that, we will be practicing some method for GitHub as well. We will hit GitHub API, and I will show you how we can fetch the command. Like there are various methods available with GitHub as well. So we will practice once these tools are done, like we have some practice, some hands-on is done. So we will go with GitHub after that. So coming on to this first, like JSON placeholder, like this is the URL. I will mention it in the description. Okay, So if you see, scroll down here, you will see some resources. Resources are the endpoints or URLs which you need to hit if you want to fetch a request. Okay, so let me click this first one, like posts. If you will hit this URL, like this will be the response that will be shared with you. So what is the main thing over here is, like, you hit the API, like you place some request, but request, for placing a request there are certain things that you need to keep in mind. Okay, so like, what is the format of my API, which is the method that I need to use. Okay, will the body have anything, will there be something in the header, or I need to use some particular parameters. Those are all things, like, some are that's how the API is designed. So about hitting the API, the method you need to use, the body format, everything will be shared by the developers, or they will share one Swagger URL with you. So first you can manually try that on Postman, and then you can automate the same thing. So here we are mainly talking about automating that thing. So okay, this is the URL that I need to hit. Okay, let me copy. I want to copy this URL. Okay, okay, let me fetch one post as of now. So I will write post as one. Okay, this is URL for me. Let me write one variable URL equal to this thing. Okay, so this is my URL, right? This is a, let me take this one as a string. Okay, now I need, okay, requests method dot, what is the type of method here? If you see, the type of method we are running is get. Okay, so I will dot get. Okay, then it is asking me for some parameters, like you can place here URL over here, your cookies, your files, if you want to send some files, what is your header, any parameters you want to send along with the request. All the options are available, and it will automatically display you all the options. So get is like, sometimes you might have seen, right, like there is a lot of authentication done. So there you also need to send auth variable is there, right? You need to send some, your username and password for authentication. You can't go and hit every API, right? So at the back end, like if you might have seen, like even if we want to fetch some hotel booking ID, we need username and password, right? So same thing is over here. And get, so here it's only asking me for URL is equals to, what is the URL that we have over here, that is URL. Okay, and comma, we will leave the rest of the things as blank. Okay, and let me fetch this request under some variable equal to this. Okay, request. Okay, that is done. So okay, let me now check the data type of this request that I have placed. Type of request. Run this for now. Let me save it and run it. See, it's a class requests.model.response. So this is my response which I have got. But see, I am not able to see the actual message that I need to see. This one, right? So my response is in the form of the JSON file, if you see over here, right? So I will write over here print. Before that, I need to import JSON library also, because I want to fetch my response in JSON format. That's it. And I will write requests dot JSON over here. So now let me check the data type of this one. Okay, see, the data type is, now it's a coming as a method dot JSON. And let me use this thing, sorry. Okay. If you see now, the response type is dictionary. Now I have a dictionary over here, like these are the curly braces, these are the keys, and these are the values corresponding to those keys. Okay, and like once I have that, I also want to know that what is my response code, right? So I have fetched one request, right? I want to know, like, what is the response code for that particular request. Okay, let me remove this from here and write request response dot response code, right? What is the code that I am having, status code. Okay, this is the method. So see, if we are successfully hitting an API, there are some response codes that we need, right? If it's a failing, like some response code will be given me back. If it's passing, the other response code will be given me back. So generally for success, like the response code is 200. Okay, if we are just fetching the data. But if we are creating some new request, also some new object we are creating, then the response code is generally 201. So that depends upon the developers how they are developing the API, but here it should be 200. So let me clear this, save it and run it. Okay, response code is 200. Okay, so now I want to fetch that particular, you can say, response. Okay, let me fetch the response in JSON response folder equal to request dot JSON. Okay, I have now my response in JSON format in this variable. So if you see, I have reached up to here. Now I need this user ID. So in dictionary, you might have seen how we fetch a particular object from a dictionary, right? So JSON response is the dictionary. In dictionary, we need the key value, right? Under square brackets, we just send the key value that we need. I want the ID. If you want the ID, you can just write ID over here. Or if you want to fetch the title, right, that can also be done. Just write the title or body, anything you want to fetch from here, you can just write, copy that and paste it over here. Okay, I want to fetch the title as well. Okay, so let me run this, control S and run this. Everything is coming as expected. So here, let me reiterate for you. The first thing is we imported request library, and we, the response was coming in form of JSON. We wanted this JSON method, so we imported JSON library as well. So we know that for hitting this particular API, we needed URL only. Okay, so we placed a URL in some object, right, in variable, and then we were using request library, using the get method, we hit the library. Okay, we gave the URL and we hit the library. Once that library is hit, we got a response over here. Okay, but I want my response in JSON format, so I wrote over here request.json. Okay, so now I have a dictionary object. I went up to here. So see, now I want to know, like, once I did hit it, what is the my status code? Is it like am I getting the valid status code, or am I hitting the service API, or my API is down, or it's not working? So like there are various status codes if you see. So 200 status codes are usually for success, right? Fetching data, right? And 201 is if you have successfully created something on the server. And then main is 400 is like object is not found. Like 400 are all the like your request format is not proper. Those are 400 errors. Then comes into picture 500 errors. 500 are related to server. If your server is down, server is not responding, all those codes are related to 500. Like I have already explained these in detail in my previous lectures, so you can go through that. But here I just my purpose was to tell you in detail like what we are doing. So first of all, we will be checking the status code. So I note that this is how I can fetch my status code, but in real time I will be using an assertion. Assert that my status code, okay, is 200, right? So what I am doing is I will be placing my status code over here in some variable. Okay, now code has my status code, and the code, okay, code in either it's in 200 or 201. If this is true, right, assertion will return true. Like if code is either 200 or 201. Or I can simply write if my code I can simply write if code is equal to 200. So it will check like the response code is 200 or not. And then I am fetching, okay, my status code I have verified. Now I will be going further and I will be fetching the ID and title from here. So I can fetch this ID and title. So this is like manually I am testing everything. My response code is correct, like under dictionary, like my ID is there or not, my title is not or there, it's coming as expected or not. Or I can fetch this title in some variable and I can compare it. So this is how we test our API, like API. This is the basic example. We will be doing more examples in the coming lectures. So okay, yeah, thank you.